What's up, guys? You know what time it is. We're here to talk today about Conan the Barbarian. And we're specifically talking about the latest limited edition Arrow release, which is just this beautiful box here and beautiful 4K transfer. So let's jump right in. Never really actually gave Conan the Barbarian a genuine shot because as I got older, I kind of had the perception that Conan was just kind of cheesy and not really for me. And I bet that's probably what most people think when they think of like those pictures of Arnold with the sword and everything. It's like, oh yeah, like cheesy 80s movie. And there, in some ways, you're not wrong if that's how you perceive this film or this franchise. But I'll be honest, I was not expecting as much of like, I don't know, a masterpiece as this was. Like I was enthralled with this film like the whole time. This is a genuine epic and it just blew me away from the music, the performances, the set pieces, the grand just scale of this film. I think one of its greatest strengths is that it knew what its weaknesses were. I mean, this is one of Arnold's first acting works, and um, they limited his dialogue, and I think that that works really well for it. Like, nothing against Arnold. I actually think he developed as an actor, and he got better as time went on. But I think at the time, with a strong accent and the character, like there are times where his performance could easily have taken you out of it. But I think that they were really smart in how they utilized his strengths and kind of limited showing the weaknesses there. This movie also it has a sense of just kind of meandering. It feels like you're playing like an open world game where you really are just running across fields and entering new cities and towns and exploring them and just running into just like because it's Conan and because it has that R-rated aspect to it, you just run into some like batshit crazy stuff like witches and like dude turning into a snake at an orgy and like weird stuff that might be off putting to some people, but I kind of like the flavor of it because you don't often see a fantasy on this epic of a scale with like this weird, like adult graphic grittiness to it. You have some like pretty R rated fantasy stuff like Game of Thrones or I don't know, shows like Vikings or things like that. But they take themselves so seriously, and Conan is just kind of like weird in the best ways possible. And it's like there's aspects of it that are cheesy and fantastical, but they just play it like that's what's going to happen in this universe. And I just think it's cool. It's a fun ride. Not to mention, I just love something shot on film in the 80s with this kind of budget and all the practical effects work. Like the blood, it's just blood is flying everywhere in this movie, but it's all just practical. Like it's just like everyone's been filled with like balloons filled with just blood, and every time they swing a sword, it's just all over, and I think that's just fun to watch. So, um, I probably didn't make this sound as much like a masterpiece as like you might think, as I was talking so highly about it early on, as I'm just talking about how it's weird and bloody and shit. But I don't know. I had a blast with it. James Earl Jones is the best villain of all time, man. I want to talk about this release, this 4K edition. First of all, gotta love like an Arrow release. You get the book with just tons of artwork and how am I doing this? As you can see here, just essays and art and cool things inside the book. You get some posters, and then you just get a plethora of special features. You get these postcards in here, which is really cool. And honestly, I did spend some time with the special features afterward, which only grew my appreciation for Conan and made me really sad that they really never were able to fulfill their pure intentions with the franchise and really do more than just the two films that they did with Arnold. I did finally invest in an actual 4K Blu-ray player, and dude, of the 4K movies, like both this and Conan the Destroyer are absolute A plus from a visual standpoint. Some of the best 4K discs I've ever seen. When you're taking a well preserved piece of film, you can get a much better 4K transfer out of that than you would most anything shot on digital. A lot of the stuff shot on digital is kind of locked into whatever it was at the time it was created. But when we're dealing with film, there is still so much that can be pulled out of that, and these movies just look absolutely stunning on 4K. So I highly recommend checking it out. And yeah, anyways, catch you on the flip side with Conan the Destroyer.